Okay, so as I said, my name's Mikey. I'm just going to get names so far, so let me just get a name.
Right, Junior.
And
Crystal.
And
Lucy. Timna.
Jaden.
what was it?
Jaden.
Jaden? Nevaeh. Zed. And as I said, I'm Mikey. Where do we want to take this conversation? Timna, you're already there?
I think it's super interesting to think about like how a small business which is interested in making the world better could work, because I think until now small businesses who, like, for example, try to get rid of the all of the litter which is blocked in our oceans. They don't get really funding because people can't really make money out of it. But I think it's not really true. Because later on people could make money out of it, because no one wants to be on a beach which is completely polluted.
Okay, so how do you actually make money with these innovations like cleaning the sea? Any thoughts on this, Zed?
I don't know. I'm going to say it's too difficult. I mean, it can be done with a bit of work to go in there. I mean, I went past Starbucks the other day, and they had this lovely bag what you would normally see for about £1, and it was £25, and it was made out of old coffee. Now you've got to have a bit of a brand behind some of this, but so you can build it up.
Sorry, Crystal, because I just wanted to get you before you've gone. There's a question on the table. How do you actually improve the world and make money at the same time? We just heard about the coffee, but recycled coffee bags that cost 25 quid. But what about the ocean clean-up projects that are not getting any funding? How do you actually make money from being innovative, being young and smart?
Being young and smart is difficult because you can end up being very overworked and burnt out because it takes a lot of time and energy. However, to make money whilst you're young, I say get a job. Study hard.
Okay, so get a job first. Don't
get a job. Get a little part-time job.
Yeah.
Study hard. Invest. And work hard.
Okay, so work.
Work
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
But don't get burnt out.
But don't get burnt out. Take time for yourself. Focus on your well-being. That's important.
Yeah.
Also, try and stay green.
Yeah.
Stay healthy. And think about how can you be affecting the world. Try and look for energy. Make sure that your energy providers green and stuff like that.
Okay, there's a lot of information there.
Don't contribute to global warming.
Okay, don't contribute to all that work and burning out. Surely burning out is going to heat the planet.
It's time and organisation, surely. Time and organisation. Making sure you're having good time management. Making sure that you're on time, efficient, and stuff like that, and looking after yourself, your well-being as well.
Okay, so there's quite a lot there. I'm going to come to you in a second, Junior. The question is, if you're young and gifted, you've got innovative ideas, how do you actually get money for that? How do you actually, turn that into a business and not burn out? Crystal here is a young entrepreneur, but it doesn't sound like easy, because it sounds like it's work. I'm just going to come to you in a second, but we've got a new face. Tell us your name.
My name's Esther.
Yeah.
You got to get a mentor.
A mentor?
You've got to build a team.
Right.
And even if you don't have a consistent mentor, because it's big, you could approach people that you admire and say, hey, can I have a chat with you? Maybe like once a month.
So actually go up to people and say...
100%. I used to work with lots of young people, and there was a girl called Stacey who was really pissed off at the fact that master's programs were really expensive, so she did her own thing called Make Your Own Masters, and she just approached designers and she was like, can you set me a brief?
Yeah.
And then she just awarded herself at the end.
Wow.
And she's like the coolest girl ever.
So she made her own masters. Wow, that's amazing.
Made her own masters.
Wow.
You can look it up. It's called Make Your Own Masters.
Okay, well, I just want to, Nevaeh, does any of this strike a chord to you? Would you want to be an entrepreneur, as an innovator, or would you just want to get your own, just work for somebody else? Okay. Thank you, Crystal. We'll give you a round of applause.
Yeah, I think I would want to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, you would. Does any of this make sense to you, just going out there doing it for yourself? Does it sound like hard work?
Well, it does sound like hard work.
It does.
But it's worth it.
We've scared off Jaden with his hard work ethic. Come and have a seat on the table to chat. Okay, Junior, you had a point?
The fact you said that you got someone in your family or someone who's autistic.
Yeah.
It may even be you're experiencing something or you're seeing them experience something, and bang, you come up with an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah? You end up with something like Dragon's Den.
How did
just
you
because
come
your
up
idea.
with? How did you come up with your ideas, Junior?
I came up with my idea because
Yeah.
when I was growing up, to be left-handed or to be disabled, I've never experienced anything like it, and wouldn't want any mother or any dad to be treating their children like it. So I've brought up with a desire to change people's perceptions and change the way they are to disabled people. And I don't know, there's some people that have not heard about being left-handed and then being beat because you're left-handed with a belt, with a curtain wire, with a belt buckle, like that. And people not realising they've left scars with you, from there, and they're not allowing you to heal from those scars, because the minute you mention it, they don't want to hear it. From there. So mine was really the desire to change people, and how can I get a non-disabled person?
So it's actually
to
the
be
drive,
different?
it's the drive that came first. The drive to change things actually came before the ideas, which came before the innovation. Come and have a seat on the table of chat. Are you an entrepreneur? I guess that's. I'll take it as a no.
From the place across the road. The hub.
The hub.
Yeah,
hub.
trying to help people. And
Okay, so
everything like that.
where are we going to go with this conversation?
We're going to go, when I mentioned about the hub,
Yeah.
places that are supposed to be open to help youths
Yeah.
that are just generally closed half the time, or you've got to make appointments and so on like this.
Yeah.
And how can you give the youths confidence in their own town?
Confidence is a big thing. We heard from Esther that this girl that she was working with just went up to people and says, hey, can you mentor me? And that's huge confidence, but are we growing young people's confidence? Do young people need to be more confident? Any thought? Yeah.
I think young people are already confident.
They're already confident?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good.
Like, you think their confidence is being bashed?
Is young people's confidence being bashed?
I think it is, because sometimes they see our confidence as rebelling as well.
Right, yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so can you give us an example? I'll come back to you on that one, but we're talking about young people and confidence. I think Timna had a point as well about this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm older than you, and I think like that confidence from the younger generation is quite often more superficial, I would say, and like I always call confidence like be a potato, having enough starch like a potato means for me being confident, and I think like the confidence of
is like a potato.
Yeah, like strong.
Because you need a lot of like energy inside.
Yeah.
It's like a slow burner, basically.
Yeah. And I have the impression that the confidence of
Zed's writing this down, so this is very useful information. Yeah.
And I think the confidence at the moment from younger people is more like in the skin of a potato, and it should be in the inside. So it's more superficial.
Okay.
Sorry for this.
Is your confidence the potato, or is it just the skin of the potato? And does that sound appealing to you?
I will switch that. Because when we talk about confidence, I asked you a question. It's about also confidence in people, confidence in your community, confidence in the police, because there's a high thing that's been going on for a long time, was about confidence with police.
Yeah.
And how do we get people to be more confident?
Okay.
If all we're doing is throwing negative at them, saying, the youths are always getting in trouble. Yeah, the youths are always in trouble, they're always stabbing, and all of this bad news.
Okay, is there too much negativity? Come and have a seat. We're talking about, is there too much negativity in the world, and that, especially around young people? Come and join. We have got Junior, we have got Zed, we've got Nevaeh. 2 minutes, come on. We have got Jaden, we have got Timna, we've got me, Mikey. That's a really good point from Junior. Are young people in a way surrounded by negativity? What do you think, Jaden? Do you think there's too much negativity?
Yeah.
Yeah? Can you give us an example?
Like on the roads, there's like young people.
Yeah.
like in groups, and then people start stereotyping them.
Yeah.
And
so there's that kind of street negativity that people. What is it? Hostility or what is it?
I don't know.
Why are people so negative on the streets?
Because of what they heard.
Nevaeh, yeah?
It's mainly because of what they heard and what they see on TV.
Right. So in a way, I think Junior's right there. It's just about negative being kind of bandied around and people think negative, therefore they act negative. Is that right? And Zed, have you got any views on this?
I think it's always there about the negativity.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think with the youth for today, and it's
Yeah.
happens with everybody else, is just teaching them basic skills.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, ask them anything, they all go on their phones, they know exactly what's going on or something. But I saw them in, like, they go to McDonald's or something,
Yeah.
and then they buy something, and it costs X amount of money, and I don't think they really know what the value of coins are, because they just throw a load of coins down and got no idea what is what, and they don't even look at the person while they're serving them.
Yeah.
You know, and when I was back and I was younger, there would have been basic skills that generation never got taught.
Okay, so
you've got to be
even things as simple as eye contact is a little bit kind of missing. What do you think? Are young people surrounded by negativity? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so, because we have now the inflation,
Yeah.
we have the war, and I mean we have other wars which are going on, and people suffer because they don't have enough food, and I think it's hard to stay positive in such a negative world.
Do you think we're surrounded by too much negativity? That's what we're hearing here. Come and join in, just 2 minutes. Do you feel like there's too much negativity going on? We've got Timna, we've got Jaden, we've got Nevaeh, we've got Zed, we've got Junior. Tell us your name.
Hattie.
Hattie and
Nahara.
was it?
Nahara.
Nahara. Come and have a seat for 2 minutes. Don't worry, it's all. Yeah, it's. Don't feel you need to make any commitment, but right now it's quite a hot subject, which is about negativity. Are we surrounded, especially young people? We heard there's all this kind of bad talk about what's going on with young people, but also just in the news. Jaden, were you going to say something?
Nothing.
Okay. So, yeah, Nevaeh?
Sometimes people think negative because it's just how you were taught when you're younger.
Yeah.
Like some people, their parents tell them, if you see a big group, don't go near them. Don't look somebody in their eye, or like, stay on the other side of the road.
Yeah. So in a way, maybe this not looking in the eye is actually taught by parents, because Zed was complaining, young people don't look you in the eye. They'll buy something and they'll kind of just throw the coins down without actually even looking. Is it because they've been taught that way? Yes, taught to be?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are looking something.
Yeah.
We know they are playing, but still they are hiding something for the what's it called? Is it drug?
So you feel a little bit suspicious it might be about drugs as well, that there's too much drugs going on?
Yes.
Hattie, have you got any?
The news and social media plays a big
Yeah.
role. Majority of young people are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
They're not doing what they're not supposed to do, but majority we're focusing on the 5% of society, which then makes all young
so it's
people
not
look
actually
negative.
we focus on the negative ones, and
Because
everyone.
it's sensational, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes the news,
Yeah.
ratings, it makes money, but actually majority of young people are amazing and doing what they're supposed to be doing.
But
So
how do we put the spotlight on maybe the less interesting but more nice 95%? Zed, I want a final thought from you before you go. This is kind of. Give us a final thought. Grab the mic as well because you're too far away now.
Final thought.
Yeah.
I think it's down to the individual, it's down to the environment, it's down to schools, there's so many different things. I mean, I've got 3 kids out there, they're all varying 15, 18, 20, so about different ages, and they're wonderful kids.
Yeah.
And like you said, the vast majority of kids out there are great and do the stuff they want. It's just like with any part of society, there's always a small proportion.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're the ones that the majority of people will look
do
at.
that 95% suffer from the 5% or even less maybe that are actually doing harm and giving young people a bad name? Do they actually suffer from that?
They do suffer from that. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it's always been. You've got to find ways to target that 5% and see how you can work with them and what can be done to decrease those numbers.
So you've got to really focus on the 5% that are negative, Junior. Thank you, Zed.
if you think about through different generations, the same thing has happened.
Yeah.
One person does something, and right, that's it. The rest of the class suffer. Yeah. Right, and so sometimes that person who's done something, the rest of the class would wait till it goes outside.
Yeah,
Right,
so
it's because of you. Yeah, it's because of you. We got this. Like,
bad kid makes it bad for everyone.
yeah. From there, there's that going on. Plus, the mentality of children growing up today. Don't get me wrong, but people are men before they're boys, so to speak.
Okay, so are young people growing up too fast? We've got a potentially new face to say. Well, tell us your name. I mean, obviously it's a voluntary thing, so if you don't want to, but at the moment we're talking about negativity. Are young people especially tarred with a kind of negative aspect, and it's only a small percentage that actually are doing bad stuff? That's what we're talking about. And how do you actually overcome that problem?
And when you say bad stuff, you need to think why is there certain crimes being done, or why do they have that attitude? There's a reason for it. Children are not just doing that for no reason, and people need to become more educated and read more about why things are happening and looking on a deeper level rather than the surface.
Why would you say they're doing it?
Lack of jobs. Prejudice and discrimination, maybe. The social media showing certain things which is not what life is like. Poverty, their parents having to work multiple jobs and maybe not at home as much with them. So there's lots of different reasons, which is people need to think of those things rather than just think of the surface things are.
Okay, so we're not actually understanding these people, I think it's fair to say. We've got another couple of new faces over here. Is that your final thought, or do you want to give us a final thought, Hattie, before you go?
Young kids are the future. They're amazing, especially teenagers. I'm always going to be pro teenagers.
So how do we actually really boost and support those teenagers?
Have more things for them to do, have more opportunities, and sell the positive rather than the negative all the time.
Okay, thank you. A really good final thought. I'll come to you in a second, but we have got new faces. So we've got Junior, we have got Nevaeh, we have got Jaden, we have got Timna, and what was your name again, sorry?
Nahara.
Nahara.
Yeah.
And Nahara, and Mikey, what's your name?
Tiana.
Tiana, and
what's your name?
Erica, welcome, and come and sit down, come and get involved in this. Okay. We're talking about young people. We're talking about, are they tarred with like a negativity, and is that really unfair, because they're most of them are like not even doing anything bad, but the ones that are doing it for a reason, because they're not getting the attention, they've got nothing to do, all these different things. So that's what we're talking about at the moment. Junior, I think you want to... Yeah.
Personally myself, I can speak for a lot of people, but at the same time, the area that I grew up in, there's something that's going on with black people, where they talk about they can't work together. For so long there's just been this saying about black people that cannot work together, and it's damaging our whole...
What do you mean by that, black people can't work together?
It means that they don't trust each other anymore.
Right.
Yeah, they cannot work in the same workplace anymore. That one's going to be a thief, going to rob and so on. All of this stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Coupled with that, when I was growing up, there was a thing called... where somebody used to call you country bumpkin. Yeah? Where you came from a different place, Norwich or something like that, and you were country bumpkin as far as the man in the city was concerned.
Right.
Go a couple generations forward to today's generation, it's about area code.
Okay.
Yeah?
Right.
Now, I'm just going to close this off here,
because there's like quite a few points we need to deal with here.
What I'm I mentioned area code because I'm just going back to when I was little and to the different youths that are around today. And when I talked to you about doing stuff to do with disability, I actually did I Love W12 in sign language. And then did all the London codes just to try and change the ethos of the code.
To make it
you can break that negative thing.
That's really good. Come and get involved in this. We're talking about prejudice. Are we prejudiced against young people? there's a question as well about black people. Do they trust each other? Can they work together? Have we kind of got sucked into a kind of rhetoric about area codes? So it's kind of up to you where you want to take this conversation. There's 2 or 3 strong points there, Junior. So it's kind of up to other people if they want to pick up on any of those points. Any points there you want to pick up on?
This lady behind you.
Over here, yeah.
I was just wondering on what you've mentioned, like why don't you trust them anymore? Why would you say you can't work with a black person anymore because you don't trust them anymore? Or what happened?
What happened? What happened here? And do other people feel the same way? Or is it just other black people that don't trust other black people? Who is the non-trusting black?
This is what I was saying is amongst us black people for a good many years, 20, 30, 40 years, they've been saying about they cannot work together. Yeah. So I've seen something that's just been digging a hole. Yeah. We're digging a hole for ourselves. The more that we start turn around and saying that till we start to believe it.
Yeah, what's that?
I don't know. I was just saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to say that.
Yes,
you can say feeding into the narrative.
Go on.
No, I was saying I think that people do feed into the narrative of racial stereotypes.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really difficult because it hinders our society and our culture and our communities. And I think a lot of other people, once we start feeding into the narrative people put on us, I think the rest of the community also, like it feeds back into the other races and other communities. Yeah. When we don't put things right, when we hear things and people say things based on also how we say them, it's like it's a cycle.
It's a cycle, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I think it.
Okay, is it like when we kind of almost believe in buying into the narrative? Namara, have you got anything to say on that? No?
I can't speak properly, that's why I don't.
Where are you from?
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh? No. Kemonachu.
Can I give?
Yeah, go. I'm going to say, Balo.
There's a reason in that question. There's a reason in that question because I'm not supposed to have anything to do with someone from Bangladesh, especially when it comes to relationships. Yeah, all right. Can you see the negative? Yeah, that I'm already taught. So there's a wall that I won't go beyond. You won't go beyond, and it just leaves us like, well, hang on, she's from Bangladesh, I'm from England, we're nothing to do with each other, unless we're playing cricket.
Okay, yeah, so...
It doesn't matter where you're from, you have to look after everyone, you are working each other.
Well, what I'm saying is the education that we're given.
Hang on a second, but let me just ask the question, do you think there are also stereotypes about people from Bangladesh, Bengali people?
Yes.
And they believe that stereotype to a certain extent, that they believe what people say?
Sometimes they believe, sometimes they don't, because everything, everyone is like changing.
Okay, so people are actually changing.
Yeah, before it's like friendly, everyone talking, everyone friendly. Working each other, and now they don't like. They don't like now. They are speaking. They are working alone. Yeah. It's friendship. Workship is good for each other.
Okay, so friendship. We're talking about also. There's a few things that one of the things we're talking about is stereotypes, racial stereotypes. Do we buy into it? I'll just quickly give you a round of names. We have got. Oh, I've forgotten now actually. Junior, what's your name again?
Ruth.
I've got two sucked into the conversation. Ruth and
Tiana
and Erica and Nevaeh and Jaden and Timna and Namara. Nahara, and I'm Mikey. Sorry, and we've got Luce. Sun. Okay, Nahara. And tell us your name.
Maromi from Japan.
From Japan.
Yep.
One of the things we're talking about is coming from Japan. We've heard it that we're talking a lot about stereotypes, and do people just buy into their own stereotypes that people say about them, and then they believe it themselves? Do you think that's true for Japanese people?
Yes.
Yes. Can you give us an example?
Oh. As long as it's positive, I really don't mind at all.
But are there positive stereotypes that are not true either?
Yeah, but it's like a conversation starter, like when they find out that I'm Japanese
Yeah.
and they want to talk about what they know about Japan, I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay.
Even if it's not really true or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so at least it starts the conversation, and maybe we're starting the conversation here. Yeah.
There's a woman walking past, she's got a baby with her, and I would turn around and me not being shy would turn around and say, "Hi, where are you from?" Yeah? And that encouraged her to come to the to the table. And so, little did she know, I was almost in Japan last year. Yeah? I started to learn Japanese. I started to learn they have a place called Japan House down in Kensington.
Yeah.
I started to go there. They were doing things to do with the Olympics, Tokyo and everything. So I was going to places and seeing these places and seeing these people and thinking, well, hang on, they're the same as me.
Yeah.
Our problem is not seeing each other the same as each other.
Okay, so is the problem we don't see each other as all the same? Are we all the same? Are we different? I'm going to come to you in a second, but we've got a new face.
We're all different.
Tell us your name.
My name's Tamika.
So, Tamika, you think we're all different? Are we a bit the same somehow?
I actually don't believe we are.
Okay.
I believe that we are all different,
We're
but
all
we're
different.
still one.
Okay, we're all different, but we're all one. Okay. Okay, that's
We're all humans.
We're all humans. We're all human beings.
But we're all different. We're diverse.
Okay, so
We're
it's
diverse.
it's also about celebrating that diversity.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I'm one shade of brown, she's another shade of brown, you're another shade of brown, you're another shade of pink,
grey,
pink, white.
grey.
No, definitely not grey.
Yeah.
Your hair's grey.
Yeah.
T-shirt's grey.
Yeah.
You know, we're all different shades. Yeah, and we're all different. You know, I celebrate my mixture. I'm half Bengali. Yeah, and what you were saying was absolutely right.
Yeah.
In that, for my father to be with my mother, his family had to disown him. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't have it. And eventually, he decided to go back to his family, and that left me without a dad. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's real.
Yeah.
But you know, we celebrate. I then celebrate my mixed heritage.
Yeah.
And appreciate the differences.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean to say that I don't acknowledge the different parts of me. So I don't not acknowledge the Bengali side and just cling to the Black Caribbean side. You know, I'm definitely black. Yeah.
Bring a chair around there, Tamika.
Move up.
Okay, so hang on a sec, Gina, because Lucy, you wanted to say something.
Well, I guess this might be a bit tangential then, but it was like relating to something we were talking about before, which is like if you ask the sun. If you ask someone where they're from, it's like a nice thing. We were like, oh, but where you're from? I heard a lot of people who ask me where I'm from, and then I say Leeds, and then like, no, but where are you really from? And then I'm like, Leeds, and then they're like, no, but where are your parents from? And I'm like, also Leeds. And I'm like, what are you trying to ask me?
Yeah.
And I think we concluded on it's like the intention and the meaning behind that question. And I found like sometimes if I can tell that person is coming from someone who isn't necessarily originally from the UK, it's like a point of connection. But there are some people who ask me and it's not for a point of connection.
What
and
is it for?
Well, I don't know. It's like a kind of weird investigative thing. And I'm like, what do you want?
Is it? Yeah, is it about pinpointing people to people? Do
you remember earlier when I mentioned about a scenario about a box? I have a scenario about a box, and a scenario about a box.
Yeah.
This box is something that your parents say, right, this is a box, this is what you're going to learn in your life, it's going to equip you for all your life.
Yeah.
And one day I went to sleep, and in that sleep, I had a dream, someone being there. Did someone teach you that there's only one box? What about all these other boxes?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's a bit like someone saying to me when I grew up, you can only use 10% of your brain.
Yeah.
If you use more than 10% of your brain would burst.
So in a way, we're not really living to our potential by not understanding all the differences and all the different things that people have got to offer, or different places. We're not actually living to our potential with this, I think is the point here. Are you living to your potential? That's what we're talking about here. So, I mean, Tamika, what do you think about this? Do you feel that we need to get deeper, understanding each other more?
I think we have to dig deeper into our own brains and try to tap into that more than the 10%, because I believe that we all can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't believe that everyone can only use 10% of their brain.
So, but how do we do it? How do we do it?
I don't know. I think maybe meditation.
Connecting to yourself, that's a really good point there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Hang on. Yeah.
I think it's marvelous when we get to go away.
Yeah.
But, when we travel the world and go and explore other cultures, it really helps open up parts of our mind, our understanding, understanding how people do things.
I mean, should we be exploring our culture? It's just a bit cheaper, especially with the current prices. A bit cheaper to explore our cultures here. Do we need to go away? Are we using actually?
I do think we need to go away because then. I think we need to go away to explore other cultures because that's the only way you're going to learn about that culture by being there.
Hang on a sec to me, because earlier on we were saying how rich this area is in culture. And look, we're around the table, we've got Bengali, we've got Caribbean, we've got mixes.
Yeah, I get we can ask the people, but I believe we should go. We need to go there and experience how they live and stuff, and how they are as a culture.
Okay, so if you go into it, deep into it, you learn
that's
more.
What I believe.
Let's just pass it to Nevaeh. Get a final thought from you. Oh, you just put. Okay. I thought you were off, but you're not. Okay, so.
You don't. You actually don't. I visit countries without going to countries. Yeah, that's how
give us an example.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah, I'll hold the mic.
Just hold this.
Yeah, you've got a lot of material here.
I got some designs here.
Yeah.
And if you see, one of them's a Polish magazine.
Right.
And you be wondering why have I got Polish magazine. I go back to when I said to you I went to the games.
Yeah.
And I saw nothing to do with countries. So I designed a rose.
Yeah.
And this rose now is in over 240 nationalities. They come with national anthems of all those nationalities. They come with national anthems in English and in their native tongue. So coming out of that box led me into all these other different nationalities.
So do you actually need to go abroad to discover other nationalities? Can you just buy a magazine or do something else? I'm going to come to Tim. I'm going to come to...
I think that learning about culture and differences comes from connecting with and communicating with others, because I think we live in such a diverse society, and there's so many people, especially in the UK, especially in London. Like so many people from so many different places, and I have a very diverse group of friendships. And I speak to a lot of people who also have diverse friendships, and I think we all learn through each other. And I think knowledge can be grounding in itself, like just a simple knowledge and communication and connecting with somebody else from somewhere else. Like honestly, like I learn a lot about Muslim culture and things about Pakistan from my friend who is from Pakistan. And she shows me food, and she shows me how she does things, what things mean. And I think that is such a crucial part of the learning process. We don't always have access to doing things like traveling, and I think in this economy, who is going away on holiday? Nobody can afford it. But I do think that it's just connecting, and I think once you're able to connect with just one person, it could be as simple as having a connection with one person.
Okay. I've got a new face at the table. I'll just explain the conversation. It's Talkaoke Part of the Talk Show. We sort of started talking about, we're talking about young people and whether they're actually, they're kind of being surrounded by negativity. Then we were talking about stereotypes, and we're also talking about black people. There's this feeling that black people don't trust other black people, and then are we buying into narratives about cultural stereotypes? And then we examined a few cultural stereotypes: Japanese, Bengali, etc., etc. And then we moved on to this. Actually, we're not actually using that. It's actually a potential that we're not using. It's like not using 10% of your brain. All of this cultural diversity is actually a potential, and that's where we are right now. But do you need to go to that country to explore that, or can you do it right here?
I did change my mind now. I think that you can stay here because, like you said, there's loads of different people from different cultures. So just like speak to them, like I can speak to you and say what food you cook, what's it like, and you know about like Eid Mubarak and stuff. You know, when they pass, we can understand different nationalities.
Okay, right, well, let's just get your name.
My name's Max Wallace.
Max, welcome. We're just kind of, maybe just we want to pick up the pieces. We've got Tamika, we've got Erica, we've got Tiana, that's right. We've got Ruth, we've got Junior, we've got, what's her name? Maromi. And Nahara. Nahara and Timna and Mikey. And that's where we are right now. Have you got a point to jump in right now, Max, or do you want to pick up the pieces a little bit?
My point is, I believe you do need to go to another country to experience the real culture. The real culture, because I remember when I first went to Jamaica. Heard about it, my parents come from it, but it's only when I touched down in the country, it was a different...
How old were you when that happened?
I think I was in my 30s. Yeah, and I felt that I was missing something all through that growing up. But when I touched down, I saw people like me, where my dad walked when he was 5. And so it gave me a different...
It gave you a whole
different vibe. And so you have to experience. And plus, people are not... I don't mean to put people down, but you're not really in your proper environment if you're here. You need to react in a proper environment where you are.
Okay, so a counterpoint there. You really get a totally different perspective when you're in a country. You
can be immersed in that culture, and that makes
totally immersed.
You can't get away from the fact that you really need to go there to really experience the truth of the culture. Be immersed in it.
It's not just good enough then to buy a magazine, as Junior did, about Poland.
And experience, and that's what I was explaining before. I guess that going away and understanding and seeing and experiencing your roots, where you're from, the culture, the people, the simplicity of the people is a total different thing when I go back home. And I think that is just hard.
When
you
say go back home?
My family are from Bermuda.
Okay.
So like different culture, different way of living, different energy than here.
Right. Okay. I think that was come and have a seat. Was there a point from you?
Yes. Before people are friendly. Before people are friendly. Now is that they are selfish. Look like they don't like each other. Before we meet everyone, they're like how are you? Hello, how are you? Now they don't.
Okay, so people are maybe not meeting each other enough. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. That's
now more critical for this country, for us. Before we are living so nicely, like our back home.
And what's happened? Why did that happen?
I don't know. But
okay, so maybe we need to put more of an effort into people meeting each other. Yeah, what's that?
I think it's because as human beings, we're scared of what we don't know. You know, when I think about the fact that when my grandparents came to this country, you know, that's when the Caribbeans, they did come together because it was very racist then. It was like no blacks, no Irish, no dogs. So even the Irish came together, and you got to know your neighbours. And as you were saying, you developed a sense of community amongst the people that got to know you in your community. But then our communities have become more diverse quite suddenly with influx of other nationalities. And again, we go back to that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who these people are, and you get scared, and you stop communing. Your community changes, and
what's that?
It's also that cycle whereby, I said again, if we're living amongst each other, but we're not getting to know each other. Look, those two kids, one was 8, one was 9. One was a boy, one was a girl. They're both Polish. There are black people talking about Polish people taking the jobs. I was reminded about when Caribbean people came up here, and black people were being told that they're taking the jobs. So I had to remind them, hang on, wait a minute. Look what's going back on the day to your parents. Why are you doing that to the next generation from there? So that needs to change as well.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of points here. I mean, where do we want to go with this? Do we want to go with this sense of like... I guess that we're not meeting up enough. Is it getting worse? Are we communicating less? I mean, people have also said there was more racism back in the day. So there's, I mean, it's up and down. Where do you want to take this, Max?
We are communicating.
Oh, you don't think there is one? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm not saying that there was more racism. I'm saying it was racist back then.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, we don't trust what we don't know. You know, a load of white people suddenly get this influx of a load of black people, even though they'd been invited. It was like, you don't know. So you had to like, I guess they had to come to terms with the fact that there's this influx of people that we don't know, and they do different things, and they could eat different curry gut. Do you know what I mean? They eat different things, but they got used to us. Do you know what I mean? And then you settle down, and then the new people come. It's like, what's this again?
Okay. Oh, hang on. Let me get a final thought from you before you go. Thank you for sitting down.
I mean, I find the UK is an amazing place because they're so welcoming. Very, because in Japan people aren't welcome. So I really like the fact the UK is so welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Oh,
thank you.
You're welcome. So maybe we're doing down the UK.
I was thinking about the point that you're making about racism.
Yeah.
But I don't think racism is particularly less.
Yeah.
I think it's just more covert.
It's more covert.
Oh, overt. Sorry, it's more overt. So it's like, you know, it might not be as in your face, and a lot of people, because of how we are, our culture is kind of coming together in its own way.
Yeah.
There's still a lot.
Let me just.
You've got something to say. I want to hear it.
Come on, Max.
Right, I've been listening, and I think it's very ironic when more people are coming together, but you're not communicating.
Yeah.
Because you're in your phone.
Right.
Yeah, you're on a computer.
Yeah.
So you got different nationalities, but you're not talking. You're looking at your phone. You go on a train or a bus.
Yeah.
You see how many people. There's a lot of different nationalities. They're not talking. Everybody's heads in the. So this is where it's going the wrong way.
Okay, that's definitely
Everyone busy at the moment for the phone.
Yeah.
No one talking like that. Got at home.
Yeah.
Go anywhere or go any place.
Yeah.
Everyone busy for the phones.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to speak for the UK. Before we all had smartphones, because I'm from Austria, and I think, and I would agree with Mori, was it her name? The Japanese woman? Maroma. I think that the UK is really welcoming, and like people are way more open-minded than in Austria. But I think coming back to technology, I think, was it different? I mean, Mikey does this Talkaoke now for 25 years. Did you have the same discussion 25 years ago?
We weren't talking about phones 25 years ago. But
okay.
That's definitely not. Max?
I'm going to throw a spanner in the works here.
Yeah.
Right. You might say they're more welcoming, but who to?
Yeah.
Who to? Because you saw it in, Ukraine and whatever, and then you see it to black, African, and that's what I'm trying to say. Who are you more welcoming to? Are you welcoming to the person that looks more like you, or are you welcoming full stop?
Okay.
If you're looking at that situation, I don't believe that.
Okay, so
I just wanted to make a point about covert, overt racism.
Yeah.
I think that, as Tiana was saying, that we've become much more. I think the UK is definitely an accepting society. It's definitely an accepting country, but we can't ignore that there is racism.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just more covert than at other times. Today I saw a really distressing headline, and it was the Daily Mail, and it said the NHS have thrown away millions on woke courses or something.
Yeah.
And then I read the article, and it was basically saying that the NHS have, I would have changed it to invested
Yeah.
Millions of pounds. Actually, it said 1 million, but the headline was millions.
Yeah.
But the NHS have invested £1 million in training courses to teach their staff about racism and gender and was it transsexual gender stuff? Yeah. How can the Daily Mail's headline be wasted £1 million when for people that have gender issues or are black and would like their other non-black colleagues to understand them better, they would have seen that as an investment.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was the headline.
So okay.
The millions.
Wasted millions.
I had two thoughts. One was that I got really frustrated that like it was the Ukraine thing and it was like suddenly opening all of our doors, but what happened like with like a year before when we needed to like Afghan refugees who like needed help, it was like directly because of us, but none of that happened and that annoyed me. Second thing is I studied abroad in Canada and I just thought it was so interesting, like everyone's like, oh, we live in a melting pot of cultures in London. I'm like, yeah, no one talks to each other, but in Canada there's like there's a lot more integration because no one can be like, this is my country. Everyone within reason is like a first, second generation immigrant because it's a relatively new country. So they're all like, oh, I guess we've all kind of been a bit tricky to First Nations people. They were the original people. But other than that, we are all pretty new. And then everyone is much better integrated. So I find the UK actually quite a racist country.
Okay, so the UK in your mind's quite racist. We've got the Daily Mail complaining about woke courses. I'll come to you in a second, Matt. So I'm a junior.
Do you know, racism has been around a long time, but if you can think about the other side, as I said, I'm an artist, and so one day when I was sitting thinking about racism, I thought.
Sorry, just to being an artist, does that make you think about something like racism differently?
It makes me, it makes me think about colours, and then, which is a good question you asked that, because what I was going to say.
Hang on a sec, Junior. I'm just pointing out that I want a final thought from you before you go, but let Junior finish his point.
I want to hear this. I want everybody to hear this.
Yeah.
Because it was something that I'm not being taught when I'm growing up, and as an adult, I wasn't being taught. It was just the way I think creatively.
Yeah.
And I sat there thinking about, I've got 12 pencils, 12 coloured pencils. And I put them up and said, right, to all these children, I've got 12 coloured pencils. Which one do you think is my favourite colour? So red, yellow, purple, green, orange. They'll come up, they get all excited because you're trying to give an answer. And no matter, if there was 100 children in that room, no matter who answered, what they answered, black or whatever, in the end I would turn around and tell them, you're all wrong. What? How can we all be wrong? There must be one that's right. You're actually all wrong. My favourite colour is the one that I need at the time. And that's how I deal with racism.
Oops, I didn't mean that. I meant.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So a really good point. Good. We're going to have some final thoughts. We've got a new face over here. I'm going to come to you in a second, but we've just got a couple of final thoughts over here. Ruth, have you got a final thought?
I haven't got a final thought about racism, actually.
It doesn't have to be actually, we're supposed to be talking about air pollution, actually.
Really? Oh my gosh, okay, so what attracted me...
The whole point of Talkaoke is we've got license to go anywhere and talk about whatever we want to talk about, so it's kind of up to you. Don't worry about that, but you can talk about anything. It doesn't have to be
when
about
I came
racism.
to the table, one of the things you mentioned was young people and are they bored and do they get a hard rep? And I think that's I think I wanted to talk about that. I worked in a youth offending institute, being one of the mentors one of the people that worked with them. I was only a trainee at the time, but that's where I got to see firsthand what the papers talk about when they say, oh, government wasting millions on Butlins holidays for young knife crime kids. And basically riling up the nation to feel angry about these teenagers that are going around stabbing each other. And I got to work with them and find out what was going on and the different methods of punishment But more than that, I got to find out where these kids were coming from in the first place, what kind of scenarios, what their lives were like, what their parents were like, and the scenario and the situations they were dealing with in school, with their peers, with their area codes, and just how very, very difficult it was. And it gave me such a different perspective. My husband, the guy who's sitting there, Max.
Oh, Max.
Yeah,
okay,
he works.
Is that why he ran away? Like
He's coming back. He's coming back. There he is. He worked in a community centre and personally worked with defence classes for young people. And in the community centre was actually a youth club. And he got to mentor so many, thank God, he got to mentor so many young people there, where he had first hand, and you can talk about that, of what life was like for young people with things to do, with people that are interested in them, with people that cared about them, and with people that cared to nurture them, the difference it made. So young people, you can't just go around hating them because they're stabbing each other. There's why is this happening? You know, and what can the society do about it?
Hang on a sec, because we've got final thoughts, and we're going to do final. Okay, quick one.
Just a quick.
Oh, we've got an initial thought.
They were like me. I was reoffending in and out of prison for over 20 years. Do you understand me? Now I run my own business from home. People are asking me what the change is so they can change.
Absolutely.
Let me get a thought. Maybe too late for that one, but let me get a final thought from you, Tiana.
I don't know what to say.
Well, just whatever you're thinking. Whatever you're thinking.
Particular.
I mean, we've been talking about so many things. We've been talking about. Give me something about air pollution if you want to. That's what I'm really. That's what I'm here for.
Random, isn't it?
That's what I'm here for.
Come back to me.
Yeah. Okay, let me go over to Max then.
Because we were talking about racism, and so I'm going to finish my part. We need to spend more time on trying to cure this virus, basically, because
what virus?
Racism. Because it affects everybody. Nobody is immune to it. Now, another thing is we spend more time and money putting into advertisement and this and that, but we need to educate even from the youngsters, not only from the youngsters, from top, because the youth today, how are they going to trust a society when the police force that's supposed to be looking after them has actually admitted there's institutional racism in that environment. So who are you going to run to if something happens? And that's my...
Okay.
Oh, and another thing. Because it's subconscious most of the time, another channel's got to be used. I'm speaking as a black man myself. I walk down the road. How many times has somebody's grabbed their handbag or moved it from one side to another? I was in a shop the other day and this lady was talking, she was taking her money in and out of her bag and while I talking to the cashier, and then she turned and saw me, and then she took the handbag off that shoulder and put it on the other side. And until we get that sorted or whatever, nothing is going to change.
Okay, all right. So strong point. Thank you, Max. But also, we need you in the conversation, I think, to try and solve some of these problems. And we need these people over here come and get involved in this. At the moment, we're talking about institutional racism. Does anyone feel particularly? Final thought, then. Come on. I feel like you've got something. You've got something to give it. Yeah, we'll give you a round of applause.
Just say,
that's the thing. I think what's important in me closing this conversation with myself, taking myself out, but I think everyone needs to learn to connect with themselves, find some grounding, to be able to give themselves space to connect with other people. So I think that's something that would heal a lot of the community.
What do you mean by grounding? You said it
I think when you know yourself, you feel safer to understand and know other people. I think it gives you I don't even know really how to articulate it, but do you know what I mean? Do you know where I'm coming from when I say grounding?
It sounds intriguing, but I feel like I want to know more about it.
What I'm trying to say is everyone needs to know themselves. Grounding means understanding. For me, understanding and knowing myself.
Yeah.
Knowing my own values, my core. And I think sometimes with society, and as everyone was saying, technology, phones, like everything goes on around them, the things that they have going on in their personal lives that take them away from themselves, can really take away from them knowing themselves and really feeling grounded.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that is core and essential in allowing ourselves space and an openness in our own minds to be able to understand and know other people around us and try to connect. Because if we can't connect to ourselves, it's going to be hard to connect with other people.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Quite a strong one.
So,
I think if someone that said they haven't got a final thought, that's a big one. Yeah. It's quite a big one, yeah.
And what you said there, it's very good what you said there. I think people experiences matter as well, and sometimes where I talked about how we disable ourselves or how we get disabled, it's just an area that we don't specialise in, we don't study, but I think it's something, a real pivotal area what we should study is how we get disabled and how people disabled us, because if we don't know that area, it's like when COVID hit people, there was a lot of people in shock, trauma, didn't know what to do, didn't know where to go, well, listen to people who were telling them the opposite as well, from there, do you understand me? And do you know when you grew up and do as I say, not as I do? Dad's got a cigarette in his mouth, you're looking at Dad is smoking, shut up before I give you something. Straight, you understand me, like this?
Yeah, we get it. So, so many points there. Where are we going to go with this conversation?
We're going to have to do it until we get
Yeah. Was there a point there, Max?
Yeah, that was a good point.
Yeah.
I believe we need to know ourselves and be happy with ourselves, to love ourselves better. Again, I'm just throwing this in the circle.
Yeah, well, that's what it's for, you know.
A lot of people want to have relationships.
Yeah.
And they have a breakup. The relationship breaks up.
Yeah.
They're quick to jump into another relationship.
Yeah.
And you need to spend that time healing and getting to know yourself, and then it's like. Was it a chrysalis and a butterfly?
Yeah.
It's that experience. You have that time to yourself, and then you come out better.
Some time to chew leaves.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's me.
All right. So we're talking about loving yourself now. Maybe this is more of a flavour for you. Come and get involved in this. Do we love ourselves enough? I'm going to come to you in a second, Gina, because Timna's got a hand.
I think it's a bit interesting what you're saying, and I think. For me, I always ask myself, because we started this conversation with what do young people need, and I also think like racism comes from kind of a point like what do people like Tiana, was your wife's name? Was it Tiana? No, Ruth.
Yeah.
She mentioned
that might be my next one.
Yeah. We never know. What she was saying about we are afraid of the unknown, but what do I would say in general, human beings, no matter where we come from, no matter where background, what would we need like to put all the shit we have, all the negativity in our world aside and start from scratch, from zero? I don't have an answer, but I think this is like kind of a question which I'm asking.
From zero?
I don't know.
Again.
It's just like I would say you mentioned like the kind of healing breakup, and I think there are so many kind of scars or people got hurt, and I think some of these things are open, they are not even healed. So, but what would it need? I mean,
Okay, how can we start again? We're talking about scars. How do we recover from the scars? Come and get involved in this. Shall we start again? We've got, Hang on a sec, Junior. I know you're up next, but we've got a new face. We've got Max. We've got Timna. We've got Niharam. Is that right? Nahara. We've got Lucy, we've got Junior, we've potentially got Esther here as well. Tell us your name.
Manera.
And I mean, we're sort of talking about starting again, starting from scratch. We're talking about loving yourself. When you go for a breakup, do you need to just start again, or is it best just to move on to the next one to forget? That's where we are right now. I'm going to come to you in a second. Listen, come to Junior.
Yeah, it's just something I was looking at, because I grew up, I was going to school, and everybody had to go and do assembly, read the Bible, sing songs and so on like that. And then I looked at our children today, I look, well, hang on, they're not doing this. And is that really why the problem, the major problem? Children are growing up without any spirituality, without no God to call on, even. Do you understand me? And if you don't know God, how are you going to call on God? Yeah, from there. So I'm just seeing, or asking even everybody, do they see that there's a problem there, that our children are growing up without spirituality?
Is it a lack of spirituality that we're talking about? You say yes?
Yeah.
I want to, because I said Lucy had a hand. I'll come to you in a second, Tim. What was your point?
So mine was like around scars, and it was really depressing. So like maybe we can go for an uplifting spiritual thing.
All right. I mean, do scars have to be depressing? Can it be?
My comment was.
Yeah. What was it going to be? Come on, you might.
It was okay. Well, it was just going to be that, like, so I lost a parent when I was much younger, and I just now have an expectation. It was my dad, and I just have an expectation of any male figure, like actually a slew of every parental figure that then came in died. So I'm just like any male significant figure. I'm just like, how long we got? Because like you're going soon. So like it's just like that embedded. Like it's they like how do you like? I was just like I think I really drifted off whilst everyone was talking, and I was like, how like that is an embedded feeling. It was so tangential, but that's where I went.
Well, I think it does link as well to Junior's point about spirituality and that sort of sense of, in a way, that worry, that concern that that solidity is gone or something like that. I think it's very important. Yep, you're going to say something.
Was you? Yeah. You hit the nail on the head there. What we lack is moral foundation, I believe, because society tells us that anything goes. And it's, what's the saying, do as you will, or whatever. So everything is all right. We got that, we got easy money, get a credit card, you got bingo, you got every advert every 5 minutes says bingo this, get that, take out this, get a mortgage. So we're sort of brainwashed, and we don't go into our spiritual foundation, our moral foundation. Celebrities, they've got a relationship one week and they're out of it, and then another relationship another week. Your pop idol, same thing. Your film star, same thing. And then you got there was a state of people adopting other people, and it's like a fashion. And again, your moral standing, your family standing, it's just gone out the door. You're not even allowed. You're not even allowed to sort of speak to your children anymore. Or it's a decimal. You go over the decimal. It's like childcare or whatever. So it's sorry.
There's a lot of points there. There's one about, I guess, this foundation, but also about the brainwashing of the media, and we could call it distraction. Can we get involved in this? It's a kind of where is the love sort of conversation. Yes, we have got Max, we've got Timna, we've got Manira, we've got Nuhara, we've got Lucy, we've got Junior. I'm Mikey, and what's your name?
JT, but maybe later.
JT, anytime we want. Timna, you had a point, didn't you?
Yeah, it was related to the question of spirituality, but I just had in my head that I think I might get the word of spirituality wrong, because I always related to religion, and I have my father, I grew up in a really Catholic family, and I had my father saying me the same thing, kind of, we all need more of like religion, and I was like, no, he even mentioned, kids need religion to get through crisis. This was his original tone, to get through crisis. And I told him like, yeah, God didn't help me to get through my crisis. And they were like, yeah, for you it's different. And so I think like, but what I wanted to say is like, I don't think that we need like kind of religions. Spirituality for me is a bit different. I would say combine it more to energies. But I would say one thing I really loved growing up in a Catholic family was the parish, like this whole community. And I think that we have a huge lack of community, like as I don't know who mentioned it earlier this morning, but where people saying, I think it was you, Eunice, saying we get into a park and we don't really get in touch anymore. And we had, I think Max just mentioned with that we are in the underground, we don't get in touch with other people anymore. And I think it's more like, okay, but we need places where we can exchange things.
Okay, Manira, have you got any views on any of this?
Am I allowed to divert the topic?
Yeah.
Is that fine? So you were talking about community, and you know this is a community event.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really interesting to know. You know, the past couple of weeks we've had lots of heat waves, we've had droughts, we've had awful things happening all over the world related to climate change, and it'd just be really interesting to know what your perceptions are around climate change and how it affects us as people of different backgrounds, different walks of life.
Is that a spiritual question, do you think?
I think you could fit spirituality into it. You know, all the major religions talk about us kind of being stewards of the environment and kind of having a responsibility. And I think, you know, as a community, how do we feel about climate change? How do we feel about, you know, environmental issues and air pollution particularly?
Okay, well, that's a good question. I mean, does that spirituality extend to looking after our planet? We talked about it actually a bit earlier on, so it's a topic that's come back. We have got Junior, we've got Lucy, we've got Nuhara, we've got Manira, we have got Timna and Max, and I'm Mikey, and I'm going to pretend not to know this person's name.
Hi, I'm Mathilde,
Mathilde,
joined.
welcome back. And come and get involved in this. What do you think about this? Are you worried about the planet? Are you worried about spirituality? Is it any of these things, or are you worried about other stuff? Tell us your name as well.
Planet, I'm not worried about.
Yeah.
People who are in charge of us.
Yeah.
I'm worried about them.
Okay, so you're more worried about the people in charge than these issues. Let's get a final thought from you. Are you off? No, I'm not.
Yes,
I'm not.
I'm off.
Yeah, give us a final thought.
What can I say? I forgot that.
I mean, we talked about so much today as well.
Yeah, everything is we think positive. Positive now is a critical time is like a virus, because before I'm not well.
Yeah.
2.5 years I'm stuck in the house as a husband.
Yeah.
You know, he's being in food bank.
Yeah.
I take him food bank. I go out. I can't go outside. I got a little bit what's it called? No stroke, mild stroke.
Yeah.
Then I leave him for the hospital. Then after I go home, then I can't go outside.
So you feel quite stuck indoors.
Yeah, he knows. He brings me my food bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in that sense, do you sort of feel like that home environment could be improved, or is it about going out more? What would be better for you?
Now I'm a little bit going out. Still, I have a problem for the knee and back. I have a flat in the stairs. Lot of stairs.
Okay.
I can't go out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're at home, is there anything else that you do? Because I remember asking a woman what was it like for her and her children during the pandemic, and she was almost crying. And she said the first one that happened, she couldn't believe how stuck she was to do things with her children. And those who had to give their children to childminders, they were the same. They were like, what do you mean? What do you mean my child's got to stay at home?
So I mean, we talked a bit earlier on about going through a crisis, but actually, we've all been through a crisis. You're saying our leaders are not good enough for the purpose, not fit for purpose, let's say.
Good enough.
What's that?
They're good enough. They could run this planet.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
They don't want to. They want to destroy us all. They want us to be slaves.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because they're evil.
Okay. So there's the people on top want to kind of enslave us. They want us just to work for them.
That's a very good point because, you know, that is what people start to think when people have all the education in the world and all the experts in the world telling them what to do, what would be good, what would work for people, but then deliberately choosing not to listen and not to do those things that would benefit, you know, most families, most people in most countries.
Okay, so you also feel that people have got the expertise, but they're not actually listening to the expertise. They're not listening.
More. I can do what I want when I want, how I want.
Yeah.
And that thing that I said again, where it's, don't do as I say, do as I do. Don't do as I do as I say.
Yeah.
Yeah? Which were two different things, two different margins.
Yeah.
One was over here and one was over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're learning that through even today's government, like in the last few weeks and everything, where they were telling you what to do for 2 years. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, everybody's getting, what do you mean they've been going out? What do you mean they've been partying and so on like that? I'm like, what did you expect? Read Habakkuk. One day I read Habakkuk.
Yeah.
And it stopped me being the way that I'm seeing people are being mollycoddled.
Yeah.
Look at the rich. Look at what they're doing. Look at how much they got. Look at their burials and so on like that. Look how lavish their food is and so on like that. I got out of that.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a new face at the table. Tell us your name. What's your name? Okay, and what's your name?
Sorry, I'm not brother listen.
Okay, and we've got Max. You wanted to make a point.
I think. I'm sorry, I didn't get.
Well, we didn't get. Do you want to give your name?
My name's Paul.
Paul, yeah.
Paul is actually hitting the nail on the head. Yeah, there's people that run. I say the powers that be. I believe they say one thing and do another. For instance, right, you're talking about global warming now.
Yeah.
And it's emissions, and you know we've got to cut that down.
Yeah.
But there's more billionaires now that's flying around in private jets.
Yeah.
So how do you weigh that up? Cut down on pollution, but you're polluting the skies.
Okay, so in a way, it's like flying to a conference on global warming, and then it's the same thing. Do as I say, not do as I do. I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, and even there's more poverty, but there's more billionaires.
Okay.
How does that?
How is this working? You're nodding. I'm going to come to you in a second, Jean. Have you got anything you want to add to that, or?
I mean, I agree with what everyone is saying.
Yeah.
I don't know about everyone else, but I do agree that it's because they have the money, and because you don't, you have to listen to what they say. Because I have money, I don't have to listen to anything. I don't need to get the COVID vaccine. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to. I can travel if I want.
Yeah.
I have money. You don't, so you have to listen.
Okay, so we actually there's almost like
I would also like to add that the government's supposed to be listening to the public, not the other way around. So everything has turned around, and that's when people should start questioning what is really going on.
Okay, so there's a lot of, I think, distrust and a lot of, what's that?
You'll be here till next year.
I'll be here till next year listening to this one. We've got a new face at the table. Tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Rudy.
Was it?
Rudy.
Rudy, we've got Nahara, we've got Manira, we've got Max, we didn't get your name, but we'll get it later. We've got Matilda, we've got Paul, we got Junior. And at the moment we're sort of talking about climate change and COVID and all these big things that are happening to us. And there's a lot of distrust, or not even distrust, because it's worse than that, like a contempt, let's say, for the rulers that are actually saying do as I say, not do as I do. So they're flying around in jets when they're telling us not to fly, as Max was saying. So that's what we're talking about at the moment.
I just wanted to say that I think for politicians it's often the case that they say things which they will never do because they just want to get votes, and after they got voted, they think it's like now Truss and Sunak, they are still in power, and they are saying things which they actually could now do, but they don't do. So this is what that's true. They're promising things. I mean, I'm not allowed to vote for them or against them or whatever. I'm not allowed to vote, but it's so interesting because they say, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that when I'm in the MP, but they actually could still do it now because they're in power.
Okay. So there's a lot. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. It was like I couldn't get what Boris said when the COVID. He said, "Oh, we've got this deadly COVID happening, and it's basically here right now, but I'm going to shut the place down 4 days later."
Yeah.
How does that work? Something is dangerous. Why don't you shut it down there and then? Not wait till 4 days down the line.
Yeah. All right. So there's Matilda, did you want to say something? You just had your hand up, but I think you were shaking the box of cards. Where do we want to go with this? Rudy, have you got any thoughts on this? Do you feel trust in the leaders in the government?
No, I haven't for a while.
Yeah. I mean, does it affect things like climate change and your action on climate change? Do you feel that it's kind of a bit hypocritical for the leaders to ask?
No, of course it is, but I mean, that's the way the world works, so what are we going to do about that? You can't stop them doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you think that's just how the world works?
That's just how the world works, and the thing is that you've got to keep on plugging away at trying to put your oar in. If you don't put your oar in, it's not going to change anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm deeply cynical about it.
Okay, so I feel that is the mood. If I was going to say the mood here on the table, I would say cynical. I feel like that's the mood. I mean, is that good for us to be so cynical?
Yes,
yeah.
I disagree. It doesn't. That's not how the world needs to run.
Yeah.
We are more than them. No, no, but I'm just saying I disagree with that bit. I'm not saying
so
everything
you think
stated.
we shouldn't just accept it? I mean, you were
No,
saying
we
that
don't have
we
to
need to
accept
progress
it.
our way.
We don't have to
against
accept it at all.
Yeah.
We have more power than people actually think. But they're so they actually, it's like there's an illusion that people are stuck inside.
Yeah.
Because they got like electronics, they have a phone, this, that, whatever. They just get too comfortable, and they know that. They studied the human mind. They're humans themselves, but they studied the human mind. So they actually have these things where they have like several people.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you some money if you do this experiment for me. They want to see how each individual is like.
Yeah.
So I could be a Muslim, this, that, whatever. We're all humans at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But individually, we all have the same habits. We
And
get
we're not
comfortable in
necessarily
life.
using our power. Is that what you're saying?
No, we're not, and we can. We the people have more power than the
Yeah.
people think.
Yeah.
If we all just got together, we don't have to do it with violence.
Yeah.
There's way of speaking, just like how they speak to us.
Yeah.
We can do the same thing. It's all about the speech, how they speak. They don't do violence.
Yeah.
Back in the days, they used to do violence. There used to be bombing. There used to be all kinds of stuff. They used to traumatize people, and they're still traumatizing people now.
Yeah.
Because if COVID was that deadly, like you said, they said 4 days later, but then he was partying anyway. So why didn't he care about other people? There are people that have committed suicide, and there are people like elderlies have died.
Yeah.
People not questioning things, and that's what worries me.
Okay, so we need to be more questioning. We need to be more vocal. We lost Rudy. Manira?
I think, everyone's in agreement that, people have become more sceptical about government and about people in power during COVID. But what do you think individually or collectively as a community you could do to improve your air quality, your local environment? What do what have you done anything? Do you know of any initiatives or activities that are happening in your local area which are, which is actively improving your local environment?
Yeah.
I've done 8 street parties and been in 8 street parties.
Oh, street parties.
Yeah, I've done 8 street parties.
Yeah.
Like I said, there were 2 people on my road, 2 children, and I just didn't like the way how their parents tugged them when they went to come over to me.
Yeah.
And so it reminded me when my parents, when I was over here, and my parents used to tug me because I went to talk to some white person and said, shut up, and say, I'll get you home, I'm going to give you something, that. And I didn't like it. And because I didn't like it, I said, I'm not going to stand for it. Right. And so I was the first person who decided I'm going to have a street party on my road and get everybody out.
Well, that sort of speaks, I think, to your point about power and demonstrating your power in a friendly way. Street parties, is that the answer? Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you were saying, and then
what you said as a counter kind of balance to that. I think, I think that question is being asked too often, and I think that's the question that you need to ask more often. As an individual, you can only do so much, but why, as a group, are they not making changes, such as regulatory changes? There's nothing as powerful as regulatory change, as a change in the law, to make something happen, to make something shift. That's where all the efforts need to be concentrated. Right. Ban cars, then put in fines, put in some kind of systems in place so that the changes are made. Don't just keep talking about it and asking people. I feel like there's been a complete breakdown in regulation. And that's where all the efforts need to be focused.
What regulations would you like to see?
Well, the regulations on water companies to, not dispose of sewage in water sources. Same with energy companies. The regulation on energy companies to not be able to rake up profits whilst people can't heat their homes, retrofitting houses, all these huge infrastructure projects that need to happen today rather than individual shifts.
Not in 4 days' time. Okay, Paul, have you got any views on this?
Ban cars.
But you think you should ban cars?
No.
No?
Sorry,
yeah.
what's your name?
Come a bit forward so I can't reach over there.
Do you think those cars should be banned?
I think instead of going through this whole electric vehicle revolution, yes, we should, ban cars. Say you can only drive your car 1 day a week, and that's a start. Something along those lines. I can drive, but I don't do so very often.
Let's spread this out. Banning cars, is that a way forward? You seem a bit sceptical about that one, Lucy.
I don't know if there is the infrastructure for certain people's lives, and I don't know, maybe I'm speaking for people. I cycle everywhere, so I can't comment, but I just have a feeling there are certain people's lives that won't be able to go on as they are, just to do with if they work a job in the morning and then a next job, and they can't do it without a car. I don't know.
Okay. All right, so it feels like even if we did rise up and ask for new powers, we've got a bit of difference about what we want here in terms of tackling pollution.
Yeah, I think we could, changes could be more radical, but I think we would also need changes which would change, who would not bring only disadvantages for one part of the population and then advantages for the other. And
it's got to benefit everyone.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that quite often it's only a specific part of the population that says, okay, it's an advantage for them, or even, air pollution, it's good for all of us, but maybe then, if you would say, okay, you are only allowed to use your car once a week. Okay, a certain part of the population maybe needs every day a car, because even with disabled people, you can't go. You might not be able to cycle. Let's take this example.
Are we considering disabled people, for example? How do we come up with things that benefit everybody as well? Yep.
Okay, I can see this conversation is just flipping from one page to another. I think everyone's not realizing.
Yeah.
I promise you'll remember my face. People are not actually realizing how serious this is. Pollution or global warming or whatever is going on, it's deeper than people actually think. You're just looking at the surface, it's deeper than that. So people need to also know that there's people in power that actually manipulate the weather. So right now we're having great summer because they want to go towards the global warming. That's why. They know people, they're playing with people's mind, and people don't seem to want to accept that or understand that. So when the pandemic was going on, I work for the NHS, by the way. I am not vaccinated. And I know a lot more information than what. Obviously, my mum over there, I tried my best to explain to her, but she just wouldn't listen. And, because the generation she's from, I don't blame her, but at the same time, I wish she did more for that. So me, I have my child, and my child is my first concern. Before me, it's my child. So I made sure that when everything was going on, I was investigating while I was in the NHS. I still work there now, and I'm checking to see there was more deeper than that, because they were putting COVID for everything. Even someone just committed suicide that was just outside my workplace. I went into the person's record and they just put, oh, died of COVID, but actually the person died from the top.
Okay, so you feel
So
like
there's more than
a-
people think.
yeah.
There's people need to understand about weather manipulation, what
Yeah.
they're eating, like GMO food is more
Yeah.
than they think. I try to have my son to eat as organic as possible. I read the back of the label.
Yeah.
I try to do as much as I want. But people need to know it's deeper than that. I'm sorry, I don't agree with a lot of things, but everyone has their opinions, but it's deeper than that.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot of different things we can visit there. The weather manipulation, the vaccines, the food, the COVIDs. It's in a way, I feel like we can only really pick up one at a time. I'll leave that up to you. Yeah.
I'm a victim of a drug. Yeah, I didn't know nothing. It took me many, many years to see what my feet were like. Yeah, from the beginning. And I have a mum that doesn't want to talk about it. Yeah, so I have generations that it's affected in certain ways. I understand what you're saying about medical situations and so on like this, because there are people who didn't get no compensation from my time. There was people who were given money, like last year, Rishi gave away money to the thalidomide organisation. Don't know if you've ever heard of thalidomide trust, but for women, they need to look at organisations like this and drugs given through the NHS and so on under whatever banner, I believe, for morning sickness and so on like that. And I can tell you, I lived with my thing all the years of my life. And when COVID came, do you think I was taking anything from anybody? And they went, oh, Mr. Sterling, you've got COPD, you must take this. I said, look, hang on, wait a minute. You've smashed me up all my life. I said, why won't you take it then? I said, you smashed me up all my life.
In a way, it's a more kind of mistrust of the institutions or distrust from experience, from bitter experience. Do we all feel that way about?
Well, I guess like what is classed as an institution, and like whose research do we trust? Like we have a study here that's looking at air pollution. Do we trust them?
I don't know. People, we're talking about you right now. We're deciding whether to trust you or not. Esther, Manira, there's a strong issue about trust happening right now. Do we really trust? Yeah.
Can we trust Imperial College and their study?
Yeah.
Why is your answer no? Why wouldn't you trust Imperial College?
Okay, you wouldn't trust Imperial College.
The reason why I wouldn't, I don't trust the NHS in general.
Yeah.
But I'm working
you work for the NHS, but you don't trust
yeah, because I'm earning for my child. I have bigger plans than just being here. So I don't trust them because anything they study is they were told to study.
Right.
So when you have to go through college, degree and everything, it's what they want you to study. That's why. If you actually look outside of it, you know, you're inside this box. If you go look outside of the box or think outside of the box, you would know. Wherever they're telling you to study is more than that.
Okay, so...
And people will be questioning this in a few years' time. People will question, I trust the medical, I trusted the Imperial College, I trusted the NHS. They're going to question all this.
Okay, so it will come out eventually, you think? Okay. We've got a new face to the table. Tell us your name.
My name's Alex.
Alex, we've got Nihara. We've got Nihara, we've got Lucy, we've got Junior, we've got Paul, we've got Mathilde. We didn't get your name. Sheba.
I'll give you the name as Sheba.
Sheba, that's fine. And I'm Mikey, and we got Timna. And who's this over here? And basically we're talking. It all came talking about climate change. There's a feeling that the rich and the powerful are telling people to act differently on climate change, but at the same time using up all the resources themselves and flying around in jets to conferences about it and stuff like that. And then it came down to other things like COVID, like the current political climate, and then we sort of moved on to things like COVID. Did we really trust people? And there's been a history as well of people being given bad drugs. And so there's the feeling around this table that there isn't that much trust in the NHS, in medicine as a whole. I would say. Yeah, you're nodding as well, Junior.
Sorry, what's your name? Sorry.
Sheba.
Sheba. So, like, if say, for instance, like there's a research study, what should we be researching if it's not like if we're not following kind of, and I agree, there's like government decides where to put money by they put grants out and people will apply for those grants, but it will be in those research areas. But then is there somewhere that you think there should be research and there isn't?
Okay, what are we missing out on the research?
I know it's a bit difficult to get that because everyone goes on Google. They're comfortable with that. But there are actually, sit down. There are other sites. You have, there are other websites you can go on. I can't really think right now, but my partner, he has a lot of these websites and he listens about it. So you have to not just keep Googling. There's other research out there. You just have to try and actually grab it yourself. You can't find it like in the library or online. You have to kind of look at other sites and try to find it.
How do you
I would avoid Google.
What's the right and wrong research to look at?
It's a bit difficult to say that because obviously I've been questioning things from day one, and I still question even anything that I read that's outside of Google.
Yeah.
But I try to see where there's some truth in what you study, but there's also they manipulated it at the same time.
Yeah.
So you just have to try to put 2 and 2 together, and then you will know what is the facts and what's not. They always give you the half truth, and the rest is always lies. That's what I want you to understand as well.
Okay, so there's truth and there's lies in the truth. So that, Okay, I'm going to come to
So I think an important thing is to, when you were asking the question about trust in institutions, do we trust institutions? Well, personally, it's not that I trust an institution or that I don't trust an institution. It depends on what that institution does. So it's not as general as, no, the NHS is bad, or yes, the NHS is great. It's the NHS does some good things, the NHS does some not so good things. How can I be educated enough to be able to differentiate what's what? I don't have anything against the water companies per se, but after hearing that they've completely disobeyed their own rules, how am I supposed to trust them? And that's where mistrust grows, and that's where people lose all trust in institutions when those kind of things happen.
Okay, well that's a really good point there, Mathilde. I'm going to come to you, Tim, now.
I love how you said mistrust, because I understand mistrust.
Mistrust.
Sorry.
Prime Minister mistrust.
I think what is super important is having a kind of controlling system. People, institutions need to get controlled, and I mean this would throw back my question, I think, from which we've also started with, kind of which institution do you trust? Would you trust the Imperial College? Do you have kind of a controlling system, people who control your studies?
Who do you work for? And are you controlled?
I work for the NHS.
I work for the NHS.
Okay. I mean, what do you feel about some of the things that have been said so far? Just hold the microphone like that.
It depends what services you're wanting to access, really.
Yeah. Is there my bottle somewhere? There's a green bottle. No, but there's like a metal bottle.
When some people first heard me talk, they asked me to do podcasts. I said, why do you want me to do podcasts? They said, because you're an actual example of something when they were telling people the opposite.
Can you just give us a bit more detail?
Okay, parents had a thalidomide drug when I was born. They've been told, here's a drug for your morning sickness, it's going to heal you and so on. And then there were children born without limbs and in disastrous states and had no compensation. Now, how are they supposed to trust the NHS or any medical profession? And they've lived with something what they've had all their life, yet they've been told about some new thing that's affecting other people, and they're supposed to believe that, well, hang on, this is real, just like there's years before they were believed that this was real, when they've been damaged by it. Now, it's only those people that can turn around and say, you know what, someone's giving me a voice here to talk to some people, whoever's going to listen. I have a slogan for those who want to hear, or those who want to know. They're going to listen more now because of COVID. But if they listen to a politician and said, oh, COVID was a one-off, I'm like, did he really just say that? So there's fallacies that we've got to fight against all our lives, and we have to realise what they are. not become that fallacy.
Okay. Are you off, Matilda? And if so, give us a final thought before you go. Grab the mic as well.
think
Yeah.
that people should read more books and less internet.
More, why is
my
it better to
final
read-
thought.
Why is it better to read books than the internet?
Well, as Timna was saying, books do have a control system in place because they usually have to go through a publisher, or they have to be peer reviewed, such as like a journal article.
What's peer review?
It means that not just one person who writes it on the internet thinks it's true. So if you read something on the internet, that one person is writing it and no one is telling them, yes, that's correct, or no, that's false, unless in the comments. But with a book, there are a few controls in place that are backing it up or, contradicting it. So I would say that's where, a big shift can take place.
Okay, interesting. Thanks for that final thought. So, okay, where are we going to go? Alex, does any of this make any sense to you? Any thoughts on this? Or Timna's got a point if you've got nothing to say yet.
Yeah, something which struck me when you said about the COVID and the vaccine. I mean, I don't know how many millions of people now got the vaccine, and I'm vaccinated, and I truly believe that it's healthy to get vaccinated. I also think if people don't want to get the vaccine, it's their individual choice. But I don't think that that anyone, that there's kind of like a power behind it trying to make us sick with the vaccine. For me, it's more like I think in the discussion we had, I think there are 2 points. One for me is like I don't think there is someone really like literally trying to kind of or to let's say kill us. But I also think there are people that there are a lot of people out there. As Max said, there's so many billionaires. They are kind of greedy and want to have power and money. But I think they will not get power and money with spreading out a vaccine. But that doesn't mean that you can re-question what you want to put into your body and what not, because it's your own choice.
Sorry, Max, we just mentioned one of your comments about the people, the rich out there are are not really interested in our own well-being, and they're more interested.
I've got to go to my
Alex,
stuff.
give us a final thought on this. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be.
Well, on the NHS, I work in the NHS, and it's entirely up to an individual whether they want to go to it or not. But I can tell you now, it's a bloody sight better than having an American system of healthcare. If you're not able to get healthcare free at the point of delivery, we pay for it through taxation, and you can get all of your needs met. Without having to pay up front or having to rely on insurance. There is no other healthcare system like it, and let's switch it up and see. But I can guarantee you, it'll be an absolute nightmare.
You want to try that as an experiment?
No, I don't think we do in this country.
Right. Okay.
So you don't have to trust the NHS, but it's there for you if you need it.
Okay.
It's there for you if you need it.
Can I say something about NHS?
Yeah.
This is just an idea. Right, they say that the NHS hasn't got money. What about all the professional football clubs getting together and supporting the NHS with funds?
Okay, you think the footballers should pay for the NHS?
The football teams.
Yeah.
The football teams. Plus it will be, I know. Plus it would be a tax write-off if they support. The NHS, it'd be a tax write-off. Okay. Then what will happen? You'll get everybody back in football even more, because eventually it's going to come back to them. Their health is going to improve via the NHS.
Yeah. I mean, would it work? Say if Liverpool do well. Thank you, Alex. If Liverpool, do you support the football NHS idea? Do you support the football NHS idea? Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm not saying if they promote what we do and we can help more people, then great.
Okay.
It's a no-brainer.
Can I just put a word in there? Why should footballers get millions and not NHS for saving lives?
Yeah.
Why should they get paid more? They're just running around
the
getting
money
a
should
football.
just go straight to the NHS. Like, would
Why
it go
don't we
to
just-
the top doctors, or would it go?
No, why
would
don't
it
we
spread
just
out?
swap the pay completely? Why are
Yeah.
footballers running around kicking a little ball,
Yeah.
getting paid more than NHS are saving your lives? If something was
Yeah.
happened to the footballer, where would they go?
I mean,
to the hospital.
So you do believe in the NHS, and you believe in?
I believe
what
a little
NHS
bit,
says?
but not 100%.
Right.
You know, I want to say just about how you said about the vaccine. Yes, it's individual choice, but I feel like at the
Yeah.
beginning, like I could have lost my job if I wasn't vaccinated, but I didn't care. I was still refusing to even take it. I was willing to leave my job if I had to, because I want to be around for my son. So the vaccine, I've heard a lot of things because I work inside the NHS, and I can see a lot of people have died away from it. I even have friends and family that have died away from it. So that's why I question it. So I'm not going to take something that apparently they'll be doing either long-term or short-term study. I don't care. At the end of the day, you don't need a vaccine for anything. I stopped giving my child vaccination, and I promise you he'll be 100% fine. He'll be 100% fine as long as I watch what he eats and what he does. There's no such thing as vaccine is going to save your life. There's no such thing, because you can die from anything. It could be anything that can kill you. And there's more cancer around now than before.
Okay.
So I don't agree with a lot of things, but individual choice and in opinion.
All right. Where are we going to go with this conversation? I sort of feel like I've kind of run out of.
What she said.
Yeah.
I wish there was more women like that. Yeah. All right. No, I'm just telling you. I personally, I speak up for women because I see what was done to them. I speak up for dads because I see what was done between the relationship between the man, woman and kids growing up. And we really need to focus on what you said, learn about if someone's saying this drug is good for you, really? Let me look.
Yeah.
Let me look at it, yeah?
Yeah.
You understand me? Like that. Let me look at all the details to do with it. I've got a book right now that's about not using drugs. Yeah, to heal yourself. You understand? Yeah, medicinal and so on like that. And when I started reading this, and it said, you are your body. Your body is a mirror. Yeah? I was like, wait a minute, let me look at this book. It's telling me about myself. You understand me?
Yeah.
Reflection of you, your body and so on like that. This is what we should be learning.
Okay. I'm talking about drugs. I think I would need more drugs to carry on this conversation, but we are going to keep it. We are going to keep it hot, and we're going to get a new host in the middle. We're going to change it over. We're going to have Timna back in the middle for the final session. I feel like we've not got that much longer for this, but we'll do it a little bit longer because it's such an interesting conversation, and potentially we might even hit some of our targets. Talking about that.
So let's,
Yeah, good idea.
So we talked about lots of different things. I'm trying to work out, do a rundown. It's a very poor rundown. Any suggestions of what we have talked about? We've talked about air pollution. We've talked about parental relationships. We've talked about our environment. We've talked a lot about what can we trust, who can we trust? If the people in power, what can the people in power do to support us? Are they there to support us? COVID vaccines, should we be vaccinated, should we not? How can you be critical to the information that you receive? Where do you get your information sources? Bit of a rundown there. Do we trust institutions? Do we trust Imperial? What do we think about air pollution? What do we think about our environment? Do we think that there's pollution inside our homes? What do we think about the chemicals inside our homes? Are they good? Are they bad? And over to Timna.
Thank you for this. A round of applause for Mikey also. So we had a lot of discussions about equal gender equality. Are you leaving? No, you will come back. I hope so. Yeah, because yeah. So we've talked about racism. We've talked about how can we get in touch with other cultures. We've talked about now the NHS research studies. Can we trust these institutions? So it's up to you to decide. Do you want to go on that topic? Do you want to change the topic? Is there something in which you are interested? But I will start with a round of names. What's your name?
Mikey.
So what's your name? Beda. Okay, what's your name?
Mrs. Nahara Begum.
What's your name?
Nahara.
Nahara.
Lucy.
Lucy.
Paul.
Paul.
Sheba.
And Sheba. So great to see you all. I'm Timna, and I think Mikey has a topic.
No, well, just the thing about the footballers paying for the NHS. I mean, I spend a lot of time kind of scrolling through, reading about football, but I don't really read anything. I mean, I'm not like you. I don't look on the internet looking at the NHS and all the health stuff at all. So maybe rather than just also being about the money, it also could be about paying a bit more attention to health rather than things like football. But football just seems a lot more compelling for me, probably no one else around the table, to read about.
That's interesting. And do you think, or do you guys think we as human beings should pay more attention on our health, or should someone else pay more attention in general on the topic health?
Well, you have to take care of yourself, obviously. Why should we rely on someone else to take care of you? We're an individual. We come by myself. You come by yourself, you die by yourself. So why do you need someone else to take care of you? You know, it's common sense, really, which people can lack, and I can understand why. So I'm looking at it both ways of why people think that way and why other people think the other way. You know, you have to think for yourself, and you have to take care of yourself. You know, my son at the moment, my son's a baby. Well, he's only 4, but the fact that he needs to be taken care of. When you get a certain age, you can take care of yourself. It's just about you just pushing yourself.
Yeah.
And not getting too comfortable with someone else taking care of you. So that's what I believe.
Yeah, okay, so you think in the responsibility of the individual, but you also think that we need someone from the outside to take care on a specific, for example, your son, to give an example. Paul, what do you think about that? How do you take care on your health?
Well,
Or what do you think about health in general?
okay. Health is, you need to take your own responsibility for your own health to an extent. Obviously we employ doctors, etc. to look after us. The trouble with I see now with the health of the country as individuals, the NHS has been corrupted and it's been taken over by people with companies with a lot of money and a lot of nefarious ideas. They've got all it's about is making money, but the NHS on the whole, talking of health, is to me 100% brilliant. Saved my life multiple times.
Okay, so we have some good examples too concerning the NHS.
Yeah, it's definitely corrupt though. It's definitely corrupt.
So can something be good and bad in the same time? Maybe that's a new question.
It can be, yeah.
Up to you. Yeah.
When they're picking you up off the floor when you're dying and taking you to hospital and bringing you back to life, they're brilliant. But when they're taking billions of pounds of people's money and paying it to companies to charge like £30 for a tiny ready meal for a patient, and they're doing that over and over again, making billions, that's where it's wrong.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Hi, we have some new faces. I mean, I know I will pretend to not know your name. What's your name?
My name's Max again.
Max. What's your name?
My name is Peter.
Peter, nice to meet you. And yeah, so we're here with Paul, Sheba, Mikey, Lucy, Nahara, and Tibor. And I'm Timna. This is Talkaoke, talk show, and it's up to you to decide on what we are going to discuss now. We discussed about the NHS, about is the NHS good or bad, is it corrupt? Paul just mentioned for him it's corrupt, and I think Max, you have something to say about that.
I believe the NHS is a superb and a fantastic organisation.
Why do you think that?
Because they saved my life.
Okay.
2013, I thought I had a stomach bug, and I kept on going into work. Anyway, I went all the way through the week because my boss was on holiday, and because I was the facilities manager of the community centre, if I didn't go into work, it wouldn't be open. So I ended up, done the whole week, ended up in the hospital on the Sunday. registered in, sat down. I'm expecting to wait 45 minutes at least. Within a couple of minutes, they called my name.
Oh, okay.
And I'm shocked. I'm thinking, well, so quick, they must have got it wrong. The doctor came out, he was a distance away from me. He said, what's your symptoms? I told him the symptoms. He said, we need to operate straight away. It sounds like an inflamed appendix and we got to operate right now. And I said, no, you can't. He said, why not? I said, I got my car outside and I don't want it clamped or ticketed. He said, you don't know how serious this is. If that bursts, you'll drop on the spot. And I said, no, my car. I said, well, I only live not too far away. I can go home, take my car back home and then come back. He said, you're going to do that? I said, yes. He said, before you do that, you've got to sign a disclaimer. Signed a disclaimer, went, took my car home, come back. They kept me in overnight, monitored me. Next day, I had to go on ultrasound. Went on the ultrasound. Then what they found, they said, all right, the guy done the ultrasound. He said, I'm just going to get somebody to come back. I'm just going to get somebody. He went away, got a specialist. She done the ultrasound. And she said to the guy, did you just see that? He said, yes, that's why I got you. So I sat up, I said, what's wrong? They said, we can see fluid in your stomach, but when we go to touch your stomach, the fluid disappears. We don't know where it's going, we don't know what's happening. Can you come off of that bed, go into the CAT scan? Went to the CAT scan, they done the CAT scan, they said, can you go back upstairs? Went upstairs, within 4 minutes, 4 surgeons was around me. They said, we got to operate right now.
Okay, so it's a really beautiful story how the NHS saved your life and took the responsibility for your health.
But even from the day one, even from the guy from a distance said,
see that, so
yeah.
Anyway,
cut a long story short, my appendix had burst 5 to 7 days before I walked into the hospital.
So you were almost dead, actually.
I was dead. I saw a guy a year later, and he said, I knew there's something seriously wrong with you, Max, because you wasn't your colour, you wasn't black, you were grey. I was dying, but I didn't know I was dying.
Okay, wow.
So if it wasn't for that doctor to work straight away, then I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Great.
NHS, that was NHS. That was in Charing Cross Hospital, by the way.
Yeah, so Max gave us a really, thank you for that moment.
Would you like a book about the NHS?
I'm fine for now, but we have a new face here. What's your name?
My name is Renette.
Renette?
Yeah.
Renette. Okay, I'm Timna. We're here with Peter, Sheba, Max, Mikey, Thibaut, Mahara, and Junis. I'm Timna and this is Talkaoke. So we're now speaking, we have a really beautiful story about the NHS, who saved the life. Paul, who just left, come over here and sit down, enjoy the conversation with us, who was saying the NHS is corrupt. I'm now interested because we were also speaking about air pollution, and air pollution is also related to our health. Okay, Mike, you have something to say.
No, I mean, I've never been that close to death's door, but I've had a lot of scrapes and bumps, broken bones, operations, and it's all, the people there are doing it because, and I'm sure it's the same with you, Sheba, you're doing it because of a desire to help people, and actually, I've actually worked for the NHS, so I know I've done it too.
Okay.
So, and I to be honest, I don't think there's many people in that system that at least work on the front line that actually are not thinking that way.
Okay, so you think that in the NHS there are a lot of people really wanting to help other people and taking care of them, which is great. And coming back maybe also to the question of community, could the NHS maybe be kind of a community? Are there NHS community spaces where, coming back to mental health, we could also share things and get in contact with others, exchange things? You're nodding your head. What do you think, Peter?
Really?
Really?
Well, this is superb to me. Actually, I recently moved in the UK
Okay.
About.
Where are you from?
I'm from Sierra Leone, actually, West Africa. So, where again the health challenges are too much, like 98% in Africa. You know, a lot of people were losing lives every day because of poor health facility. So when I came in the UK and I started hearing about NHS, I said, what's this all about? So to me it was strange, very, because in Africa a lot of things like that, we don't see them there. So when for me, I spend about a lot of pounds sterling if I get sick in Africa. But when I came here, I heard about NHS. They said you should try to register and then get an NHS.
We had some really beautiful stories about how the NHS saved Mac's life.
Yeah.
No, I've got to go around handing out leaflets.
Yeah.
That's NHS Talkaoke.
Yeah, but maybe Alex, stay here for a second. Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Right.
Because we have an expert from the NHS here. Or please tell us a bit about the NHS. What is it? Because we have someone here who just recently moved here, and he was like, "What's all about this NHS?" And he was surprised in a positive way. Yeah, what's a catch? Yeah, give us your
free health service. What's the catch?
Yeah.
It's nationalised, the National Health Service, nationalised healthcare. So it's free at the point of delivery. So it's not free. We all pay for it through taxation, but it means that every level of treatment required would be available to everybody. So it's actually quite efficient compared to other models. Even in America, they pay a lot for their healthcare, but it's not a very efficient system. But it means that everybody should get the same level of care. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but I grew up around a lot of health problems. My dad had cancer all through his life, and if we didn't have nationalised healthcare, we would have been bankrupted because we couldn't have afforded the treatment. So that's why I kind of wanted to work in the NHS.
Okay.
What's this?
So I work in the mental health teams. It's primary care, it's talking therapies. You can come and speak to us. Speak to us about low mood or anxiety difficulties. And we work in the Hammersmith and Fulham Borough. That's what these leaflets are about. Yeah, which is what I'm walking around handing them out, because it could be you or it could be somebody you know and you see that they're struggling. They don't have to go to their GP. They can come to us via our website, they can fill in a form and then we ring them up, or they can call our number and then we will get them on the waiting list to speak to a counsellor, or we do CBT, we do trauma therapy, couples therapy. We offer lots, and it's completely free at the point of delivery.
And in case, for example, I live here let's imagine I would live here, would I meet you in person there also? Or
it could be me. I'm one of them. I'm one of the managers. There's a team of 90 of us. You know, there's a lot of us.
Okay, so a huge team.
Yeah, which is a lot of provision. I mean, there are waiting lists. You know, there sadly are waiting lists in the NHS. So you wouldn't necessarily get therapy immediately, but you know, eventually you would be able to see one of us. We do it over the phone. We do it through video therapy, you know, Microsoft Teams, or face-to-face as well. So there's a lot of options. We do groups as well.
Okay.
You know.
Cool.
So,
thank you for that.
and as I say, it's free at the point of delivery.
That was a great elevator pitch. Yeah, and I think Max has a question.
Do you do it in the hospital or do you do it on premises?
That's a good question. We don't have a hospital. We're just no, we don't have a hospital. We are based in a small community site just next to Hammersmith Station. Yeah, so it's like a building, like a small house.
Would you want a place to offer your service?
Well, we've got our clinicians that work there, and some that do the therapy at GP surgeries. But we're always keen for other locations. Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is because I'm about to open up my own wellbeing centre just off of King Street. I've got a gym. No. It's do you know where the town hall is?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've got the bus stop. If you go across the road, you've got Galena Road, and then that goes into Albion Place. You turn right, you see Albion Court right in front of you. I'm just on the right hand side of Albion Court. And I've got a gym area, I've got a room for counselling and massage, that's sports and relaxation. And I've got a kitchen for healthy eating.
Well, maybe we can exchange contact details. That would be great, I think. And I'll let, because Sheba is about to go, and I would love to hear your final thought, Sheba.
Hi. I'm hearing good things about the NHS, which is, I've never said that the NHS is really bad, but my point is that my thought has changed since we got in lockdown. And you know, it was really sad because as a mother, I felt bad for the elderly who couldn't even see they weren't allowed to be seen by their family, which I think that was out of order. And if it was so deadly, the disease, then you know, we would have been locked down from day one, and they would have sorted out everything quicker. Why is it in this country they take everything slow? It's because they have people traumatized. You know, any electronics you have, like smartphones, laptops, even the TV, which is the worst. If you look at the TV, your focus actually goes away. You start focusing on what you're watching and not what's around you. And I realize that happens to me, to my son, and everyone. And I've seen that. So you know, it's just about being more outside of the box and just paying attention to what's going on. That's all I'm saying. As a mother, and you know, and as a daughter, and as a wife, I just want everyone. And even I work in the NHS. I'm helpful and everything. I see there's good people out there. I'm not saying there isn't. But it just, I have started questioning things more. So I don't believe you need to have medication for every freaking thing.
Yeah,
sorry, excuse
but
me.
that's really...
For everything, you don't need to have medication. There's other ways you can cure yourself. You don't need to be medicated. The people that I work with, they are crazy about medication is because it's addiction. It's just like cocaine. It's no different. But the only difference is that you're paying tax for it while the cocaine people are getting it another way.
Yeah.
There's no difference. So that's what I'm just saying. Just be more open-minded about what's going on.
I think that's a really good point, Sheba. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So you want to say something?
Isn't that the same as we have a place run by Turning Point? Yeah, we work along with the NHS, trying to get people off drugs, supposedly. Yeah, because what happens is they can still go and get their script. They can pick up methadone, and then they can leave. They go on the street. They get a nandrolone to see if somebody's out there that's going to be overdosing. So they give you a badge that you have to wear to say, "Oh yeah, I am wearing nandrolone, so I can do this person." So when you talk about the NHS, I find it very hard to be trusting when it comes to the care element. It's all about money, really and truly.
Okay, thank you for that final thought. Are you off to go?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for all your comments. Give me 1 second. Nahara, give us your final thought, please. Nahara, I'll be with you in a second. Nahara, you want to say anything more? Okay, so this is Talkaoke, a pop-up talk show, so people come in and go out whenever they want, and it's up to you to decide on what you want to discuss. So, and I will make it a round of names. So what's your name?
My name is Philippa.
Philippa.
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Mikey.
Mikey.
It's Peter.
Peter. Max, are you gone or what do you say? Stay here.
I'm going to go off and get him an apple.
Okay. All good. So my name is Timna, so we were just speaking about the NHS. Alex explained us about the Back to Track service. We have one more, Back on Track. Yeah, Back on Track. We were speaking about thank you, Nahara. Bye. Have a lovely evening. About the advantages of the NHS, the whole system. Is it corrupt? We heard some lovely stories where a life got saved thanks to the NHS. Do you take care of your health, or how do you take care of your health?
How do I take care of my health? Naturally.
Yeah.
I'm a NHS is a national health service, but it's a trust, and we're the beneficiaries of the trust. So it's because it's a trust. It is encouraging, I believe, the wrong way to look after ourselves. That's my thought. And we got everything that it says it in the scriptures. What gives us the right health, and the more drugs we take, the more toxicities in our body. If you detox your body, if you don't, ice cream's one of the worst things you can eat. but people don't know it. You see, it's education.
What is the bad thing about ice creams?
Oh, I won't go into it.
I would love to know. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what to do then. What you do is you get an ice cream and you melt it and then you taste it. It's like if you get a lager and wait until it goes to room temperature, then you taste it and then you taste the chemicals. If it's ice cold, you won't taste anything. You'll think it's nice, but there you go.
And wouldn't you think? Would you think that also about the air?
Well, we're all in. What do I think about the air? Well, I cleanse my lungs, and I know how to cleanse my lungs deeply. So I've educated myself around that, and the air's fine. We're being told that we are governed by fear. And that's why we're told that we're all predators, or the air is bad, or we're going to burn. It's not true. It's not true. And I've got proof that it's not true.
Okay, but I just want to clarify. So you don't think that the air is polluted in general, or?
Well, I've been told I've got asthma, and I cured my asthma. I go running, I can walk up the stairs, I've got no problem with that. And what I've been told, and what I've done, and what I've learned is completely different.
Okay, so maybe that's a new question. I know that Mikey has a point. Let's pass the mic.
Yeah, they
Philip, sorry.
They told me I need drugs. I put them in the bin, and I do homeopathy, and I do my own cleansing.
Okay, so you have your own approaches how to
and I eat herbs
to stay healthy.
Yeah, because we've been using herbs for thousands of years, but we've been taken away from it. Okay. And anyone who uses a herb is frowned upon. But we don't know the power of the energy of the plants.
Okay, so you think we should go more back to the natural plant medication? Philippa, what do you think about that?
Yes, I would agree with what the last person was speaking with. Jonathan was speaking about, because fear, the acronym of fear is false evidence appearing real. So what we do, we've been programmed with so many things in a negative way, and we just absorb all this, and anything that's on a positive note that we seem like it's bad for us. But you know what we have to do, what Jonathan was saying, and like cleansing ourselves, is actually learning how to breathe deeply. Because if you look how a baby breathes, that is the way to breathe. And so you absorb all the oxygen and then expel the what is it called there? Mucus and there's toxicity. There's so many things, but yes, the healing is of the nation is in the plants, a lot of it. But then one has to do their research, because there's something out there for everyone, and you cannot, because generally when we're given a medication and things like that, it's just for everybody, but everybody's unique. So you've got to do things individually, what is suitable for that person.
That's super interesting. Let's come back to that. I will just get a final thought from Peter, who just recently moved here to the UK, and he didn't know the NHS. Please give us your final thought, Peter.
Thank you very much for asking me again for my final thoughts.
Do you want me to take a picture from you from the inside?
Okay, yeah, you can, you can. Really, I have to go, but really, NHS, they are doing well. They're actually doing well.
Okay.
So do you think that, that it should be a global health service rather than a national health?
Okay, let's...
Just one last question. Should it be a global health service rather than a national health service? So that people like in Africa and Sierra Leone could actually benefit too from that?
I think I suggest let it be globally, because they are more professional. Why do I say so? I can't measure what happened to me, but there was something that happened to me, and I've been hiding these things about couple of 3 years, and NHS found out and said, this is what you have. In Africa, nobody. So in terms of proficiency, NHS, they are professionals inside. So I respect them for that, and I think we should give them a kudos. If there's anything that we can push NHS to mobilize or to connect with the world, I think I suggest that they should connect with the world, because they are more professional in their services. Thank you.
thank you for the beautiful final thought. Have a lovely evening, Peter. So I would.
It's winding down anyway. I feel like it might be time to get final thoughts.
Okay.
It's about 5:15.
Yeah, I have one question then. So you guys, you were speaking about how we could be more healthy while replacing medicine with old plants and using plants. Come and join us for the table. Come here.
We're doing final thoughts now.
Sorry?
Yeah, we're doing final thoughts. Yeah. But I just wanted to ask, like, how did you guys get all this knowledge? How did you educate yourself? Was it just experience? Because you said you were.
It's the internal voice inside that we all have. When you listen to that little tiny voice and you listen carefully, it will guide you. We don't need the system to indoctrinate us and to condition us. When you listen to that voice inside, it gets bigger and bigger and louder, and the love gets bigger and stronger, and the hate starts depleting.
Okay, so
and then
kind of like
and my mantra.
Feeling your own body.
You know it. You know. Yeah.
And their own needs.
And my mantra is, my mantra is, I love everyone and everyone loves me.
That's Philippa. What do you think?
My thoughts
Thank you
are.
for that final thought, Jennifer.
Thank you for that, Jonathan. My thoughts are that's been taken away from us and slowly depleted from us for many years.
What has been taken
is
away
actually how to love yourself. It's so important to love yourself. The way you treat yourself is where you teach other people to treat you. So you've got to show yourself self-love first of all, so that be loving the way you look in the mirror. I love myself the way I look, and stop looking on outwardly for outward approval. You need to get your approval from within, because as Jonathan was saying, that is where the power is. Each and every one of us have a power within, and it's important that we actually be in tune and in touch with our power within, and then we can grow so much, because growing is part of what we're doing in life. Because you know what, we are not the same people we was 5 years ago. Everybody grows all the time, so it's about improving yourself and your well-being, your mindset, what you believe, and letting go of negativity and absorbing the positivity.
So what I also understand, that you take actually a lot of self-responsibility for your own health and for your own for staying healthy. Yeah. Thank you for that final thought, Philippa. So Liz,
I find that's a difficult one. We all have to take care of ourselves. And I side with what you're saying, so some people get that misconstrued. Yeah, because when Jesus said you're to love somebody else as he would love, he said as he would love, not as we would think ourselves. Yeah, because sometimes a person will turn around to me, yo, I got some food. I said, what food you got? Food, man. I'm thinking you're talking Chinese, Caribbean, but no, you're talking about this little white thing that he wants to sit down with him because he's got no yard to bun it with, yeah? So that's him showing love. I'm bringing you in, yeah? So I learned, no, that's not the type of love that even you're talking about, you understand me? From there, type of love I'm talking about is, look, you know what? I got up this morning, I saw somebody, when they saw me and their child went to come over me, they tugged their child. Shut up, don't say nothing to him. Yeah? But one day, that same couple got their children a dog. You know, one of them sausage dogs? When they got one of them dogs, someone come down the road and run over the dog by accident. I didn't know that those two children were sitting in there at home, not able to talk to their parents. And when I come out of cleaning this old woman's house, all of a sudden it was like these two children were just thrust right in front of me. We can't talk to our parents, but we can talk to you. I couldn't believe what was going on. Wait a minute, you can't talk to your parents, but you can talk to me. Yeah. And yeah. And once the parents saw that, they were able to talk to me and go back in, and they were cool as cucumber. The parents never ever tugged them again. So, sometimes it can be hard to make changes.
So it's also like kind of a specific connection.
Yeah. Okay. Like that, and sit there. You have to make that connection. You can't sit there. Oh, I live in the same neighbourhood, but I don't say hello to them. I don't talk to them. So how am I going to help their children? Would not, if I saw their children needed help, I'd look at the parents and think, well, they don't talk to me. Why should I help their children? I don't want to roll around like that.
So it's a bit coming back also to, I think, one of the points with which we started this morning or a couple of hours ago, like exchange and get in touch with other people. Okay. That's beautiful. Thank you.
I think because over the years it has shown that the community has changed. Because growing up here, especially in the West London area, I can speak for, is that every summer or every holiday there was something called a coach trip, and all the community came together and we went to the seaside, and it was like so many different families came together on that particular day, and we went to the seaside. We enjoyed ourselves, so we could actually identify whose mum was that, whose child was that. Now that's lost, it's gone. As we've grown up.
Do you remember?
Well, I recently took a family of 80 mothers and children to a local Legoland, so I'm doing my bit to help support families and bring them together so that we know each other, because as I said, things have changed so much.
Do you
whereby
work for the council?
Yes, I do,
okay,
but
what do you do?
I also work as a health champion coordinator, so we're part of this event. These are our teams, and plus my charity I do, I'm helping single parents just come together.
What's the name of your business or
So I'm a trustee in a charity called Basura Legacy Foundation, and they're based in Goldhawk Road, and we provide products and services for single families within the borough to get them, to help them to get in employment and help them with events and even help them with essential food shopping, and that's totally different from food bank. Actually, we take them on a trip whereby they can choose the food that they want, which is suitable to them, instead of being given the food.
Okay, and do you also advise them on what kind of food is healthy, or is that not part of this business? Or
There are several projects in pipeline, so that is one of them that where I will be doing these kind of things, what foods are good for you and so forth. But again, this is something that an individual has to take responsibility of themselves, and yes, they can be given direction, but you can show them what to do, but they still have to make the ultimate decision to do that themselves.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Give us your final and initial thought.
I'll get water and I'll be back.
Okay, you'll be back. Okay. Mikey.
Time for final thoughts from everybody.
Let's get Matilda's final thought.
On the event of today.
So we've discussed racism. What do young people need? What would we need in a park?
I have to say, my final thought is that it was great to have a talk show here today, great to have a round table where people could come together in a, slightly more formal but still very informal setting, with some professionalism involved, something exciting, something new, some nice design, some sound effects, some swivel chairs, and just be able to talk about issues that are important to them. It was nice to see how much some people had to say, how unfrequently maybe they have the opportunity to say and speak about these things, and I would love to see more of this exact kind of pop-out. I would come again.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that final thought, Matilda. Your final thought,
I just want to say we will be back in exactly the same spot in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
For the W12 festival, but if you have a look on our card, we're mostly in East London, but you're all very welcome to come and join us in East London, and if you're that interested in it, you can have a go at being this person in the middle, although it takes years of training.
Yeah, in 2 weeks.
The festival next week?
No, in 2 weeks. It's the 3rd, the 3rd of September. Thank you, Philippa. Thank you, Eunice. Your final thought, Lucy, please.
I've really enjoyed the steel pans all throughout, which is more meta, I think. I've really enjoyed it, and I didn't know that steel pans were made out of the bottom of oil drums.
Thank you for that final thought, Lucy.
I'd just like to say,
okay, let's give us.
Sorry, just like to say thank you for providing this opportunity for the residents to voice their opinions, because it's kind of very difficult to do that, and also gives people the opportunity to speak because they have things within them that they haven't shared with anybody. So that absolutely gives people this opportunity to do that, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Take this with you if you want to, Philippa. Yeah, give us your final.
I'm glad you said that. Very good. I'm glad you're out here. I saw how you engaged with a lot of people, and the point you made there, a lot of people do want to talk. They're still hemmed up from 2 years of pandemic, yeah? And just because the government said, oh, apparently on April Fool's Day, yeah? Oh, everything's back to normal. Really? People are still asking, really? Yeah, from there, so thank you for coming out. Yeah,
thank you for you joining us and giving us so many good points. And, in the mid, the person who doesn't have any opinion. Okay, I have a final thought. It was a pleasure seeing you all here and enjoying all these moments with you all. Yeah.